He literally was arrested. We had like, you know what I mean?
Why?
So now it comes out he was arrested for possession of cocaine.
Oh wow.
Our assistant head teacher. So you think teacher? No
Wait,
way.
who's this?
Ackland Burley. So the assistant,
Burley.
the assistant head teacher there got arrested for possession of cocaine.
Okay.
Now, he had more.
Wait, so this is a school that you used to teach at, or you
I still teach there now on a Friday, only Fridays. So I'm at one school Tuesday to a lot of schools basically, 3 schools. But he got arrested for possession of cocaine, and he had more cocaine than personal use. Now you'd think, teacher.
And he's selling it.
So it means he's got a big amount. So it means that if they've got a big amount, they have to search your address. That's the protocol. So now they have to go to his house. So they go to his house. Now this guy, as a person, great guy. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, normal bloke, great guy, never expected any of it. Always at work on time, does his job really well, very good at his job. You would never, do you know what I mean? This is a normal guy. Now they search his address, and on his laptop they find images of children.
What?
Oh my god.
So
what?
Inappropriate images of children.
Wait, so this was an
images, gigs.
God.
assistant head teacher.
Assistant head teacher
it like-
and head of safeguarding.
Fucking hell, mate. Are you serious?
Google it now.
Who's
Ackland Burley.
You don't
Google
wanna
it
Google
now.
that.
Ackland Burley School, Tufnell Park. So now
Ackland. How do I wait?
I'll show you how
How do I
to
spell
spell
that?
it.
Let me search that.
I feel really bad. Maybe I should.
No.
like-
Go ahead.
Real
Go
life
ahead.
kids that
This
are
is-
still like.
It's more than that as well. He's also into dark web. So this guy was actually a madman working in schools. ACLAND.
Okay,
And then Burgerly. Assistant head.
Assistant head.
Yeah.
I was never thinking it was just like a teacher, normal teacher.
He's an assistant head. This is him.
Oh wow.
And you know what?
That's him.
He was actually a music teacher. He got promoted from music teacher to assistant head. And then they got a new head of music in, so I actually knew him. Do you know what I mean?
From music teacher to assistant. Oh, okay.
He's actually, I don't want to say it, but he's actually a normal bloke. Do you know what I mean?
Bro, he's a social.
There's no.
He's a
You would
social,
never. It doesn't even add up. I still can't believe it, but it's real because he's been convicted. You know what I mean? It's so when you think about it on that level, you don't know. Like you said, you can't trust anyone. You really cannot trust anyone. You don't know who the hell anyone is, genuinely. Because from that experience, I was like, but we smoked. We smoke. When I used to smoke cigarettes, we'd smoke in the smoking corner. We'll have catch a coffee in the staff room. We'll talk about music. He's a normal guy. Do you know what I mean? But then you're a paedophile. You're a drug. You take drugs like heavily. Obviously, probably while on. I'd probably when I think about it, maybe he was actually on coke while at work. Do you know what I mean?
Really?
When
Like,
you
if
think
thought,
about it,
like just in terms of how he was,
his
acting and stuff.
mannerisms
Okay.
now. Do you know what I mean? So it's crazy. When
Well, do you think
about it.
anything actually happened with any of the students that went to that
Never.
school?
He's not the kind of person to actually.
You don't know nobody. You don't know.
I mean, because now I'm making assumptions because
Now you're
he's a
judging
different
him,
person to
yeah.
any.
Because
You're
it
still
could have
judging him
happened.
in
Maybe
a
it
good
could.
way.
Maybe
It could have
what could
happened.
happen. People might come out. Now this has happened. People might come out in
Yeah.
5 years' time.
This is what I'm trying to say.
True.
Like people that have only come out like
It happens
in
sometimes.
their 40s, you know what I'm saying? This
Because they
the stuff
realise
that
it.
Come out have actually happened like 30. You know what I'm saying 20 years ago.
Because they might.
that
Because it
might
might
be
take a bit of
nowadays.
time for you to realise that it actually happened,
Bro,
and then
Michael
the
Jackson.
confidence to actually.
Michael Jackson and
then the
that-
confidence it takes to actually disclose that, because that's a very sensitive, thing. So it's mad. It's insane.
Jeez.
But on the thing of trust, it's a mad one.
You guys want to talk about that for a second? The Michael Jackson.
The Michael
documentary
Jackson.
and all of that stuff. Baby, what are you laughing
Oh,
at?
this is gonna hurt.
You're
This
not
is
saying
gonna
anything
hurt.
about that.
This is gonna hurt. Oh, Michael.
What does everyone believe right now? Because I don't think you've
About
seen.
Michael Jackson?
Yeah, have you seen the documentary? The
Not
recent one.
really.
Without seeing it, it's not fair.
Without seeing it, it's not.
What
fair.
do you think, though?
But what do you think?
About
Though?
Michael Jackson.
Like in relation to like being a paedophile and all that stuff. Yeah.
Michael Jackson?
Yeah. What, you didn't know about this?
No.
Oh dear. Okay,
Jeez.
so this is too much. This is too much for you to take in. It's too much.
It's too much.
But let's ease it slowly. So essentially, break it down. Break it down, Fadis.
Okay. So you've never heard of Michael Jackson being like any cases? He's been in 2 court cases, I think, or maybe more. I'm not too sure. Where he's actually been like he's had to stand on trial for basically touching kids. Have you ever heard about?
I can believe that, but I have never heard of.
Why can you believe that then?
Oh.
I mean, I can believe that because I don't trust any guys. To be honest with you, nowadays I don't trust any guy.
But
regardless.
what I thought you were gonna say is because this is something that I noticed that even when I didn't believe he did these things, because when these trials were happening, I was of age to like actually remember them. You know what I'm saying? But I was so disconnected from it. It seemed like what it was framed to be from the like Michael Jackson PR companies and stuff like that, or the PR that they wanted to put out, basically saying that like these families just want money, they're just attacking me for no reason. But when you think about it, this guy was with kids all of the time. Imagine, baby, imagine someone like big today. Imagine like Drake, equivalent to Drake, because Drake is massive now. So Michael Jackson was even more massive than Drake, but he's like the only person that we can actually compare nowadays, I would say. So imagine if you saw Drake, and pictures of him in terms of when he would go on tour and stuff. He was just with a bunch of kids. There's just a bunch of kids around him, like.
He would invite children on tour with him.
He was
and host them
like,
at
this is what I'm
hotels
trying to say.
And segregate the parents from the children. Anyway.
So basically, this documentary breaks down like I think 2 people's account for their experience with Michael Jackson, but also the family that's connected to the direct victims, isn't it? So that's what we're talking about. But that's just basically saying like you don't know who people are. It's just that whole thing. Like you could, people can like, especially like someone like Michael Jackson. They can portray who they want to be and who you want them to believe they are. You know what I'm saying? So much that any kind of serious allegation against them
is you dismiss it
instantly. And this came from the actual people. It's like the victim. Like this is something that I actually just like remember from the documentary, and it's the sister of the one of the victims basically, and she was saying that like she was one of the people that would always be the first person to stand up for Michael Jackson basically when it came to like molestation and all of this type of stuff, because obviously she had the experiences with him and all that type of stuff, but years later, when her brother came out and actually said to them, apparently, that all of the stuff that he actually stood in court and actually denied for Michael Jackson was true. So he was probably, I don't know, in his 30s. By the time he had kids, basically, he came out and said that it was true, and it broke her sister down. It broke the family down, everything. You know what I'm saying? And it's just because parents, man. That's what the whole thing.
Do you know what?
Really
In that whole scenario, I blame. Sorry,
no, go ahead.
I blame the parents because they knew what was going on. When you actually break down the storyline and you hear it all recalled, they knew there was an issue with the whole logistics of the way it was handled.
Yeah.
This child, one of the children that did make the allegation, was basically he's basically a dancer, very, very talented dancer, virtuoso, prodigy. Now, Michael Jackson would hold auditions and sort of competitions for dancers to basically come on tour with him if they, win the competition, something along those lines.
Yeah.
So obviously, this guy's he's amazing, he's really, really good, and obviously wins the prize of going on tour. More or less, the deal is he comes on tour, which is obviously amazing, coming on tour of Michael Jackson. Imagine me as a child. If even me as an adult, are you mad? This is it tour. If someone was like, yo, you get to tour Michael Jackson, I was like,
Obviously.
my career's done. I don't care about any other gig after this. I don't care about anything else I do. I could even go and work in Tesco. I've toured with Michael Jackson. Don't tell me nothing. But now, this child gets to tour with Michael Jackson. Now, the logistics and the way this thing is handled is already very dodgy because obviously they got to pull him out of school and pull him out of, do all that.
Yeah.
I assume he would have been paid. I assume they housed the parents as well. The parents and the family got to travel with them. However, didn't get to stay on the same location as the child.
Well, they were in the same location, but they were just never in the same room.
They would be on a different floor.
Yeah,
Well, that was the deal. So the family and the child are separated.
Definitely.
That's a problem.
But then there was whole periods when the kid was with them, and they the parents were just in some house that Michael Jackson bought for them to live in.
Yeah, he bought the parents out. He basically was like, yeah, there you go, shh.
Yeah.
And told them to be quiet. And the parents will have had some sort, that parental instinct would have kicked in. However, both of them decided, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's all right. It's Michael Jackson.
I just honestly believe that right there is just a fault of parenting. Like, you had your chance to be a good parent, and then there's no going back. Once you've already agreed to that sort of behavior and things that can happen, that's it. You know what I'm saying? You're allowing that to run, and that's it.
I don't think like everyone wants to be a parent. They just find themselves in a situation in the sense that they feel it's like an obligation. Yeah, they feel like it's like an obligation that they have to have kids. It's normal, because I come from a place that you can't say you don't want to get married. No, you even if you don't want to. I mean, it's like an obligation. You don't have to take care of your kids. That's not the obligation. But the obligation is you need to have kids because your parent needs to see your grandkids. So I feel like some people don't really care about their kids. They think they do. Because I've been in that situation before. But I'm not going to say which of my parent. I'm not going to say anything. But I feel like some people just feel like, yeah, it's an obligation to have a child. But nah, I don't want to have a child.
Oh, I'll tell you that my dad was like that, fully.
It's just
my dad was like that fully.
It's just like
yeah,
life circle. That's just how it's
like,
gonna be.
I've got to have kids.
Yeah, that's it.
That's cool. You're here now. I'll do what I have to do. But I will
you're
say,
here, you can find your way, because that's how it was.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's actually funny because that's what they went through as well.
Exactly.
So they're like,
in
you know
a
what?
way, I understand it, which is why I can't judge anyone in that way.
I wouldn't judge him.
He did a good job. There were good lessons and things that I took from it. But however, now, having gone through it, I am now more informed and I know how it feels.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't do the same. I understand what his objective was. However, I understand now that it's not effective. What he was trying to do didn't work in the way he thought it would. So in the same way, I'm like, okay, cool. I've got good life skills. I've got, I'm punctual. I wake up. I do what I have to do. I'm a typical man. You got to be a lad. However, it doesn't always work like that for every child. Every child is different. The way you treat every child has to be different. You have to actually put in the time too for your child. You've got to put in time. And a child knows if they're loved or not. That's the other thing. That's also a big thing over everything. You could beat the child every day, but if you don't love them, the child knows. Which, you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of, I even see it on the playground, a lot of parents that treat the child like a burden. I'm like, you didn't want to have that child, and I can see that you didn't want to have that child just from the way you treat them.
Oh my days. There's literally
mad.
a woman around here, yeah. I hear her I think you've been here and you just
screaming and shouting.
Screaming and shouting at her kids. Baby, you know this woman, innit?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. She must be new around here. It's one of my neighbours,
what I would say is, like, I don't think any woman would actually feel that way with their child, because you give birth to your child. The only reason I will feel that way, they will feel that way. I don't think I will feel that way. The only reason they will feel that way is because maybe they have the child for the person they don't like.
That is the issue. So it's a reminder of...
It's a reminder of that person. And then they're like, I don't even want to have the child in the first place. And then they have for the person they don't even like. Now, that's probably why. Because I feel like regardless, even if you have a child by mistake, the love should just be naturally there. You don't have to to look for it or do something about it. It should just be there regardless. Even if it's not even your child, even if you had to take someone else's child. I just feel like the love should be there. But I feel like in those scenarios, it's probably because of that. They
Because of
probably,
what?
yeah, because they
I
have it
think that you're
for
right.
someone they don't actually like, and they don't
Oh,
even want
yeah.
to
I
have a
think
chat
you're
at that
absolutely
time.
right. Because
Yeah,
a lot of the time it
circumstance,
can
innit?
be, and a lot of the time it's just
Just imagine it. You have a chat with someone you don't like you
I think there's a
trust
lot of
that
people that
person.
are in that scenario. I would say so.
True.
I would say so. I'd also say the other scenario there could be is just a lot of people idolize having a child in a different pedestal than the reality. The reality is different. For example, I mean, I know people who have had kids, quite a few people, and before they were talking about having kids, they spoke about it in a certain way. And now the kids have been here for a year. When I meet up with them, they're talking to me as if in a different way from when they were talking then. The reality is different, and I think that sometimes people are shocked by that reality and how their lives will change so suddenly, and the responsibility and the things that they'll have to deal with, and it's sometimes just too much, and sometimes they weren't ready for it, and they weren't prepared in the way that they should have been before they made that choice. Or if they didn't make that choice, it's even worse. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it.
So I think it is very much. I mean, there are so many different scenarios as to how people can become that way, but it still doesn't mean that it's. I still think it's unacceptable, regardless of anything. Because when you're actually seeing it happen, there's always the butterfly effect. It's not even the butterfly effect. What is the actual word for it? It's the energy thing. That child, the way you treat that child.
I feel.
Do you mean?
Not even the law of attraction. That child is going to absorb everything that you do to that child, or through the way you treat that child, and that's going to affect hundreds and hundreds of people that child is going to meet forever in this life when you're dead. So if you mess that child up, that child is going to cause havoc. Not non-intentionally, whatever it is. That child, it will end up being a ripple effect, and that child's going to have an effect on so many people.
True.
So I think it's important to try your best on everyone to make sure they come out as a okay, happy person on a basic level. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but not everyone knows what you know.
No,
Not everyone,
not at all.
That's the sad
But I
part.
think that's the responsibility you have to have before you have kids. You need
Exactly.
to be. You've got to be aware. You've got to have
True.
consciousness, and you have to be a reflective, thoughtful person, not some mold, not
Some
some
people
any
just
old.
feels like, you know what?
You're not entitled to have children. I'm sorry. I
Some
don't think
people,
anyone's
like,
entitled to
because when I think
if you're not
about
ready.
it now, having kids, I feel like it's before I can even think about having kids, I should be able to know what to do. I should be able to know how to take care of them. But some people are like, I see it as a accomplishment, not like an obligation. No, I see it like something that, okay, if I can do it, I can do it. If I can't, I shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say, okay, I'm just gonna do it because, yeah, everyone is doing it. No. That's because that's another life you're bringing. Because I see it as myself as well. I feel like if someone because I've been through something like that. So I feel like in some places, some people were brought up to be like, you know what, you're in this life, do what you have to do. It's your life. The only thing they need to do is to bring you here, and that's it. They've done their job.
Basically.
You need to find your way.
Yeah, basically.
Honestly, that's how I feel with my dad.
I mean,
honestly,
that's
but
how
I feel.
But I think, sorry, baby. No, go ahead.
No, you can continue as well.
I think that's just the reality of the situation in certain people's minds. Like, that is the reality. Like, they believe, look, I just need to birth these kids. They'll figure out what to do.
And they feel
what I'm
like
saying?
they have to, even if they know that they can't even. They don't even know that they should do something better about that. They just feel like they have to, even if they don't have to take care of them. They feel like, you know what, at this certain age, I should do this, I should do that, I should have this certain...
All right, so speaking about it then. So I think we've talked about this a bit off air anyway, but like, when do we think is like the best time to actually have kids?
I don't think there's...
In this day and age, for you personally, not saying generally, like, but like for you personally, when do you think is the right time to have kids? And that could be dependent on like your age, or it could be dependent on like the time that you're in. So it's not like, so maybe you've wanted to achieve something before having kids, so that doesn't depend on the age. Because for me personally, I think it's like, I want to have kids when I'm in a position to, I'm in a like financially free position. So where I'm not like dependent on the next paycheck.
Yeah.
Like I'm good for money, basically. Like that's when I want to have kids. Like, and that could come sooner or later. But otherwise, that's the only like cap that I put on. And for like a realistic timeline, that's gonna. I'm 22 now, so that's gonna be like 4 or 5 years, I think.
I think maybe 10.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean,
maybe. I'm just gonna be honest.
He's been
with
realistic.
You, man. I'm not
Yeah.
too far from where your 4 or
Yeah,
5 years
yeah,
is. 10. I said the same
I
thing.
mean, you never know. Anything can happen.
I said the
Anything
same
can
thing.
happen. But if you're being honest, 10 years maximum. Yeah.
10 years maximum. Okay,
Yeah.
10 years. All right, so
Yeah.
eight
I mean,
to 10,
it depends.
8 to 10.
I don't think my personal, because I'm gonna
10
disagree with you.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a disagreement; it's an opinion. No, it's not a
Go
disagreement.
ahead.
I don't think finances should have an impact as to whether you have kids or not. There's a reason why I say that as well.
I was gonna say that too.
I grew up poor. Like, my parents' first generation. My dad got his stay because he met my mum. Do you know what I mean? He got married to my mum and then got his stay in England. That's how he got his stay here. Do you know what I mean? He was all mad before that anyway. But first generation, poor, like, on benefits. That's how I was raised. My dad went to uni while I was born, living as a child, like full-time student, all mad. So I, think that my parents did a very good job for the position that they were in. They trained, I think it's about what you want and the lessons that you can pass on to that child, as well as trying to make them happy. Because it's not all about happy. Because I have a younger 12-year-old brother. Sometimes I'm like, Mum, you're babying him too much. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, have you forgotten what I went through? Have you forgotten that? You're giving him this and that. I think it's about preparing them for the reality of what they are going to face when they are adults.
But that's
can
what I'm
you
trying
do
to
that
say,
without
like,
money? Yes,
what
you
age,
can.
What age?
You can do that anytime as long as you're ready for it.
That's what I'm trying to say.
When will you be ready for it?
Exactly.
That is a subjective thing.
I
reckon I could have a kid right now.
Same.
If I had to.
I wouldn't want to.
However, I have
want
things
to.
that I want to achieve, and I know that would affect my ability of my achievement and my progression. However, when would I choose to have kids? Which is the main question.
That is the main question.
That's the main question. For me personally, 0 debt, savings.
See, that's what I was
of
saying.
about
though.
£10,000.
That's what I was saying.
And
Financial
then,
freedom.
because I mean that's not financial freedom. What is financial? We have to. If we're gonna actually.
I mean, it could be like, what is
How
financial?
do you-
Because I think that's subjective. So, what's financial
Actually,
freedom
I
to
think
you?
the
Objectively
question should
define
be,
what
I think-
financial freedom is to you.
I
How
think-
do
I
you
think-
define it?
Exactly.
No,
think
you. I want the answer.
Okay, so how do I define
Yes.
it? I think it's more about like your time, like your ability to make money, living, like just you being a person and your ability to make money.
So not
that's
working the
regardless, exactly. So that's regardless of you having to apply, you know what I'm saying, to a job, like for a job, and then you getting paid for the job. I'm talking literally about hustling.
So essentially, you have to systemize a business.
You have to hustle.
I think
Not
which is
just-
For
hustle,
anybody that's like
You have to get someone to hustle for you. You have to train someone up to do it.
yeah.
If you want to be financially free, because financial.
What do you mean by
freedom-
that? What do you mean by that?
Financial freedom means you're not working.
No,
for
but I
the money.
mean training somebody else to do that. Like, what do you mean?
Okay, so let's give you a standard business model. Give me a trade.
I don't know.
shoemaker.
Shoemaker. Okay. I have the best slipper. I'm going to make it in life because I believe that this slipper, this one here, is the best slipper.
Jeez.
Now, what do I need to do first? I need to first find a manufacturing company. I need to get a designer. I need to make sure this slipper is actually the best. I need to make sure it feels comfortable. I need to make sure it's stylish Stylish. Oh, back again. You lost me, but I'm back. So I need to make sure this slipper
Back with that one.
is the best slipper that ever existed. Stylish. I need to follow the manufacturers, the people that can make this slipper into reality. I need to get the designers on board. I need to make sure that this slipper looks the best as it can be. I need to get the materials. I need to import stuff. I need to get batches of things done. Okay. Now, if you are the person doing all of that work, you're not financially free because you have to put in the hours. No matter how many orders you're shifting for this slipper, JD Sports have your slipper, Sports Direct have your slipper. No. If you are the one doing the admin, making the orders, driving, sorting out the couriers, doing all that admin, you are not fully financially free. Because then there's a limitation.
See, that's what you, like,
there's
I
a
agree.
limitation as to
Fully
how
financially
much
free,
work you can take on.
But financially free.
And that's even if you're in that position in the first place. If you're in that position in the first place, you better celebrate and dance in the street because what's about to come for us in Brexit, we'll see. So that's just example person A. Let me put this slipper away. Nike, you can endorse us. Anyway, so for me, financially free would be when I'm not working the hours and I can sustain a middle class sort of living in the society that I'm living in without working all of those hours. Working part-time hours to sustain myself in a middle class sort of social context would sort of be my happy place. Even if I have to work full-time hours.
Let me give you my like starting.
No, it's fine.
And then you cut me off, and then you cover.
This is a podcast. You gotta fight your way in the back. You gotta fight your way.
And you gotta talk into the mic as well, baby. You holding the mic over there. Come on.
Fine, you can talk.
You know, you gotta talk into the mic, man.
Keep talking. What do you want to say?
So my opinion on financially free, I think it's different because I'm in a different place and I've gone through my different experiences, yeah. But for me, yeah, what it has meant literally in my life, yeah, is being freelance. And I say that because all I have known until I've been freelance or had to become freelance, really, is I need to have a job to make money.
Yeah.
I need to have a job, so I need to have an employer to give me the money for me to... Yeah, 1 second. Ezra's calling.
Pause.
Yeah.
I think that's pause cameras.
It's still recording.
I like the ringtone.
I feel like you guys